impolite guests get to feel the back of my candy hand.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at some of the cheapest British TV shows ever made. We're not saying any of these shows are bad, many are excellent, but they were still made on shoestring budgets.
It seems I'm not the only one round here with a birthmark shaped like a moped. Mummy.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10, The Thick of It.
No, there's no flip-flop. There's nothing like that. There's no, this isn't a change in policy in any respect.
While this classic satire eventually got more money behind it, the entire first series was made on a minuscule budget of only £100,000. After fighting tooth and nail to prove to the BBC that political satire could be a relevant genre again, Armando Iannucci was given the tiny budget, which he somehow managed to get 3 episodes out of.
Yeah, but once you start the fire, Mark, and we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning, etc., etc.
There was no music, no studio audience, and the entire thing was shot on handheld cameras in the tiny offices of an ex-brewery.
It was always going to be a snooper force policy. I mean, that's absolutely definite.
It's too good a policy to have been invented by a disgruntled civil servant.
Letting the cast improvise was also a masterstroke, adding to the realism. It really does feel like a documentary about incompetent government ministers under New Labour.
That's what I'd tell her. But maybe you should do it. See you later.
Yeah.
Number 9, Misfits.
Yeah, but what if they're right? No offence, but I'm thinking some people are just born criminals. Are you looking to get stabbed? You see my point there?
Superhero TV shows weren't known for their high quality in 2009, at least where visual effects were concerned, and Misfits was no exception. While it has superb writing and is easily one of the greatest British shows of all time, Misfits relied on giving its characters superpowers that hardly needed any special effects.
Get her tits out.
I'm telling you, I'm losing it.
Alright. Why don't she want to have sex with me?
Simon's invisibility is generally achieved by the other actors just pretending they can't see him, Kelly's telepathy is a simple voiceover, and Alicia's animal magnetism requires barely any effects at all. It just relies on the actors. When a visual effect does rear its head, like the one-off characters with more complicated powers, it nearly always looks awful. But none of that matters because it's so well written.
I'm pretty sure this breaches the terms of my ASBO.
We don't tell anyone about this, yeah? About the storm, or what it did to us, or anything.
Number 8, Come Back, Mrs. Noah.
Standing here in the Pontefract International Space Complex, otherwise known as PISC,
a genuinely bad show, Come Back, Mrs. Noah remains an appalling blot on the BBC's storied sitcom CV.
Visiting with us today, we have the winner of Modern Housewife magazine Cookery Competition 2050, Mrs. Gertrude Noah.
Following the antics of Mrs. Noah, a housewife who wins a competition and accidentally gets stranded on Britain's flagship space station in the near future, the program was so bad that it temporarily convinced the BBC that a sci-fi sitcom was doomed. Sci-fi comedies in general weren't, but this one certainly was.
How does that look?
Grotesque is the word that springs to mind.
With its dirt cheap sets and some extremely primitive visual effects, it was a relief to hear that the rescue mission had failed and the characters were mistakenly flung into space and left to die.
That's the Earth, isn't it?
Oh, fancy. We'll be back there in a few minutes.
Isn't it getting smaller?
Number 7, Chuckle Vision.
What's this? I don't understand.
I'll show you, sir. What you do, you flick it very fast like that, and the little man jumps up and down, you see?
Oh, yes, it's amazing. It's almost real.
It is, isn't it?
This is disgraceful. It certainly is. This is much better. Look at that. A little dog running across a meadow.
It wouldn't have run for decades if it cost a fortune, but the low production value is part of what gives Chuckle Vision its enduring charm. The Chuckle brothers didn't need enormous budgets. With most of the episodes taking place on small sets that needed very little dressing and only extremely simple props and costumes, everything always feels very coupled together.
Calling PCSO Barry Chuckle. Calling PCSO Barry Chuckle. Emergency. Repeat. Emergency.
PCSO Barry Chuckle receiving you loud and clear. Over.
Mustard required on my hot dog. Repeat. Mustard required on my hot dog. Over. Great.
But the wordplay and visual gags are a cut above a lot of comedies not intended for children, and any episode of Chuckle Vision is certainly funnier than Mrs. Brown's Boys or Citizen Khan. Chuckle Vision doesn't even have any sets half the time, they're just wandering around in the street doing slapstick.
Anything to say for yourselves? How do you do? Pleased to meet you.
Number 6. The Tomorrow People.
Are you ready, Kenny?
Just a minute.
ITV's first attempt to create a Doctor Who killer, decades before they tried it again with the outrageously expensive sci-fi drama Primeval, was The Tomorrow People, following a group of evolutionarily superior humans with psychic powers. The production design was truly appalling.
I'm coming in now.
Each episode cost half as much as a Doctor Who episode, with most of the effects just keyed in with a primitive green screen.
Kenny was here on Tower Bridge. Carol was here in Hyde Park. If we cross-reference between these 2 points, Stephen's cries must have been coming from here.
Much of the action took place on one dodgy-looking set, the lab, and infamously, the program's main villain was a robot that looked so rubbish, the show's own creator never wanted to use it. Despite its production issues, it ran for years and left young viewers with fond memories of its likable characters.
Stephen, wake up. It's all right. There's nothing to be frightened of.
Number 5, The Basil Brush Show.
And for the slower of our viewers, here comes the theme of today's show.
This extremely meta children's show, starring Britain's most beloved fictional fox, made constant references to its own production, ruthlessly breaking the fourth wall to talk about anything from character departures to the way the set was falling apart.
For all you know, I could be some unscrupulous, blood-sucking parasite.
Are you?
Yes. I mean, no.
Phew.
It was never going to be that expensive of a program, just like everything on CBBC, but it's a lot easier to notice the production shortcomings when they constantly point them out. But of course, that's part of what made it so good, because it treated its young audience as intelligent enough to understand and appreciate all of the meta-commentary and clever gags.
Hello, screaming girls are us.
Where are the screaming girls? Not good enough! I ordered them 20 minutes ago!
Number 4, Red Dwarf. After the disaster of Come Back Mrs. Noah, the BBC was only barely convinced to greenlight Red Dwarf, and subsequently gave it as little money as possible in the early days.
Shave, please, Holly. Mister, you ought to take a good long look at yourself, and then you'd see just how ridiculous you appear to other people.
While it eventually proved, on the strength of its cast and writing, that it deserved some more cash, getting some decent special effects in the revival over on Dave, those first series are marred by budget problems.
Emergency. There's an emergency going on. It's still going on. And it's still an emergency.
The BBC never seemed to care about Red Dwarf internally either, refusing to invite the cast to corporation parties even after the program won an Emmy.
Aha, now very, very, very slowly forward.
Emmy,
Lister, they've got to learn.
You've nearly lost an eye.
How about an anal reading?
I'm all right, I feel fine now.
But it's so easy to forgive the dodgy sets and props when the episodes open with panning shots of the impressive Red Dwarf model ship. Number 3, Hole in the Wall.
Bring on the wall!
They barely needed anything for Hole in the Wall, a swimming pool, lycra bodysuits, and a big moving wall made of polystyrene. The final product felt as cheap as it obviously was, with host Anton de Beek, who got promoted from team captain, the role he had originally, doing a lot of heavy lifting to get anything genuinely entertaining out of this bizarre premise. Somewhat unsurprisingly, this was an adaptation of a sub-game in a Japanese show. Why we thought it was compelling enough to make an entire 30-minute episode of celebrities falling into pools is anyone's guess, but there were inexplicably 2 series. Number 2, Doctor Who.
I'm disappointed in you, Doctor. I expected you to choose your friends more carefully. Still, she won't be a friend much longer, will she?
You knew this one was coming. While the post-2005 revival of Doctor Who has been something of a drain on the BBC's finances, getting more and more overproduced, Classic Who had the opposite problem. Its 4-part serials were so hastily written and shot that the sets and costumes barely looked finished, which they almost certainly weren't.
I'm finding this rather tiresome. Heads or tails, Doctor?
And if they weren't on a cobbled-together soundstage, they were filming on location in an abandoned quarry standing in for whatever alien planet they were meant to be on that week. At least in the reboot, the TARDIS doesn't look like it's about to fall to pieces if somebody leans on it with a bit too much force. Number 1, Crossroads. Soap operas aren't exactly known for being expensive, since even their most legendary actors command only modest salaries versus big-name stars working in different genres. But no soap has been as infamously shoddy as Crossroads. Following the trials and tribulations of a motel outside of Birmingham, it became such a laughingstock despite the original run being on TV for over 20 years that Victoria Wood famously parodied it in her Acorn Antique sketch that she eventually turned into a musical.
Well, if it's to ask me for another dollar for your untrustworthy cousin Joseph, then the answer's no. This last little escort, there's a £2 in front of it.
But compared to programs airing weekly, Crossroads was produced for even less money and broadcast multiple times a week, making it a subject of widespread mockery for its endless mistakes.
Well, you can say what you like. She was a very nice woman.
She was an harlot.
Oh, she was a lady. Huh. If she could see this place now.
Let us know in the comments which dirt cheap shows we forgot to include.